Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Yeah, I'm sitting here with the wrapped up and under the light. They said that the weather was going to bottom out starting today, and they said rain all week, and that's just about right for the end of September. The leaves have begun to fall, especially in my backyard. My backyard is suddenly loaded with leaves. It wasn't 2 days ago, but now it is. So it's time to bring the old blower out and try to blow some of those leaves into the grass so that my grass cutting people will come and they can mulch those leaves right up when they cut back there. That's the best I can do. Okay, so, well, today there will be no preliminaries until the end. Instead of doing them at the beginning of the video like I normally do, I'm going to do them at the end. Okay, so first of all, I'm still working on my shawl. It should have been done, but what happened was I frogged it at least 3 times because I needed to get the measurements precise to where I would not run out of yarn because I want this to be full. And I was going with the rectangular because I said that's what I prefer because all my other ones are rectangular and I like those better. But what happened was when I was doing it in the rectangular fashion, I realized that I was not going to get the 54 rows that I thought that I would get, which is what the shawl requires. So I switched back to triangular. So that was the first time that I frogged it. Then I had it too long, triangular, once again. Then finally, I just kept playing with it. I had to take it down at least 4 times. I kept measuring, and then, it would get longer. I would measure it at the beginning, and then as I worked on it, it would stretch out. So I finally got it, and so now I am almost halfway done with it, if not halfway done. So this is I think I'm on row 22, and altogether, row 30. Wait, let me count it real quick here. It won't take long. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Ooh, I was wrong. 23, 24, 25. I'm on row 26. But there will be a total of 60 rows, but then I'm decreasing each row. So it's going faster and faster. So when I get to row 60, I will just be doing one of the one of the diamond mesh at the end. So right now there's 30 or 38 left or something like that. And so it'll go 37, 6, 5, 4, 3, on and on until I get to the last row, which will be row 60 and just one diamond mesh stitch. So, yep. So I'm halfway done now. So I'll probably be done with this either tonight or tomorrow at the latest. So I'll show it to you Wednesday. It'll be your millionth time seeing it because you've seen it in the triangular form. And no, I don't think I've done it in the rectangular form. But when you saw it before in the triangle form, I didn't have enough yarn to finish it. So it ended when I had maybe, I think, 20 rows left. And I didn't mind it then, but then I thought, no, I want it to be full. So now you will see it in the complete point once it's done. So that will be the difference. And of course, I'll snoot it and do all my little stuff that I like to do with my shawl once I'm done with it. After that, I will start on the bibs, and then following the bibs, I'm going to knock out that February shawl that I'm doing, the African shawl, and then from there, that thick yarn that I have that I frogged, that I had made that blanket out of, but I said it was too heavy. Well, a video popped up on my algorithm, and it was for the chunky granny stitch. And because I like this Noro blanket so much being chunkier, it was for the chunky granny stitch blanket, but it was made in the granny squares. The person in the video made maybe 10 squares altogether because it was the thick chunky yarn. Although it was thick and everything, it was so cute the way that it was set up. So I'm going to use my granny square. I have a book of granny squares, and then I also have the granny square deck of cards. So I'm gonna look through both of those and decide which ones I want to use. I think I'll be making a total of 10 granny squares. And although I've never been successful at doing the granny squares and then sewing them together with that thicker yarn, I believe that'll be easy. Whereas with thinner yarn, that's where I've had problems where I couldn't get it right and it would pucker up and everything. But I'm going to try it with that yarn that I have left over in there that I frogged. So, and it'll just be for decorative purposes. I'll probably use it for a couch cover or something to throw on the back of my love seat, something like that. It definitely will not be used as a blanket. It'll be decorative only, but it's so thick, I'm thinking it could probably be used as a couch cover or something like that. We shall see. Okay, so now, although those weren't preliminaries, they were crochet topic related. So anyway, let's see. Oh, another thing. I always talk about Chris Allen's Creative Loops. I know a lot of you are already subscribed to him, but go check him out. He did a video on today and he talked about the shawl that he made for a coworker. He called it the spider stitch shawl or something like that, but that wasn't the name. But it was made by, I think Bag a Day Crochet did the tutorial on that shawl. It's chevron, it's the chevron stitch, but it looks like a spider cape. And it's so beautiful. And he did it in her yarn. Well, remember, after I did my fall shawl, I told you that I still have like 6 more balls of that left. And I'm going to do another shawl with it because it drapes so beautifully. And then looking at his, it drapes so beautifully. And the colors just blended together beautifully. So that's what I'm going to use the rest of my yarn for. So Chris, I'm getting ready to copy you and Bag a Day. I know it's a, pattern that she shared, but you gave me the inspiration and the idea to make that spider shawl because when I saw it, I think I saw when she had posted the tutorial, I watched it or watched some of it at least to look to see how it looked. And I thought it was beautiful, but I was like, well, because wait, actually I had thought about using that yarn, that pattern, that tutorial for the Kobu yarn, but I didn't have enough of it. And I didn't want it to be both of the colors because that beige and that blue really doesn't match. And I said, this would be better in a variegated yarn. And so after you reminded me of that video, when you showed that you made it in the Bag a Day Crochet yarn, and then she did too, as a matter of fact. She used that same yarn and she went with different colors. And so the rest of my yarn will be used to make that shawl. So I look forward to it. It's going to be beautiful because I already know how it looks with that yarn. So now that I have the yarn, why not? So I will look at her tutorial again and go with it. Okay, so as you all know, I said that I would on today if I had a chance, and I did, because I did need to wash a load of clothes to do my experiment with that remaining Noro yarn that I had left over from the bag that I made. And so I said I was going to wash it on delicate and then let it air dry. But what I decided to do was I made 2 swatches, identical. I made 2. And I actually did it as a granny square swatch, and I did 3 rows for each swatch. And so I decided to do 2 different experiments. First of all, I did not wash on the delicate cycle. I didn't do it. I just threw it in with my regular wash on yesterday. So it was washed on heavy duty and the regular way with warm water and regular laundry detergent, Arm & Hammer to be exact. Okay, so I washed it with the wash. So when the wash was complete after 90 minutes, I think it went 90 minutes. Okay, once the wash was complete, and before messing with the clothes, I dug in there to find the swatches. So one swatch, the experiment was to let it air dry. The other swatch, I marked it with the safety pin. And what I did was I threw that in the dryer. So that was experiment number 2. I said, well, I know this yarn, I'm not using it again, so I may as well go for the gusto. So here are the results, okay? Now, this is the one that, and remember, I made them both the same size. This is the one that I washed in the washer and I let it air dry. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see it fuzzed up. You can see all the fuzziness. So see how that looks? And both, oh, also I meant to say on both of them, I left the tail long because I wanted to see how the tail would react to washing, you know, the strips. And it's a double tail because I double stranded the yarn, as you all know. So this is how the tail looks. And it did begin to felt because as you can see, I'm pulling it apart. So there's the tail. So this is how this came out. Actually, it's not too bad, but it makes Noro yarn look like something from Walmart, okay? So, no, if you want to keep the beauty of the Noro yarn, it's best to hand wash. I can tell you that right now from this. Now, the one that I put in the dryer, it didn't really do too much worse than that, but it shrunk. So, and I've since stretched it out because I stretched it out before I thought about it. I was like, I should have left it as it was, but you can still see that it shrunk. See how much smaller it looks? And it was the exact same size as this one. Same amount of rows, same amount of stitches, the whole 9 yards. I did the exact same thing. So you can see, you can look and tell, you know, with how the size is now. Although I did start stretching it, and it really wouldn't stretch no further than this, so it still looks shrunk. It actually almost looked better dried, but it started to felt. And it was in the dryer only, my dryer dries in like 20 minutes, so it was only in there for 20 minutes, and it was completely dry when it came out. And funny enough, when I opened the dryer, there it was right there at the front, and I threw it in like in the middle, so it just happened to work its way to the front. So when the dryer stopped and I opened it, there it was. So I didn't have to dig through the clothes to get to it. But this is how this looks, and as you can see, the safety pin is here, and this one only has one strand. I don't know what happened with the other one. It might have broke off during the wash, but this is how the strand looks, the single strand from when unless it felted together, maybe that happened. But yeah, it's more felty. I believe it's more felty, and it shrunk terribly. But to me, it kind of looks better, and it feels thicker. So it thickened from being dried for sure, because this one remained thinner, but this one feels super thick. But yeah, my advice is, since I've done this experiment, this is Noro yarn washed in the washer on a regular cycle with regular laundry, you know, with it. And this one was dried in the dryer, the one in my left hand, and it's to your right, I believe. And the one that was laid flat to dry right here in my right hand, both of them came out wonky. It made the yarn look old and worn after the fact. And so I think anything Noro, if I was to wash this scarf here, it would do the same thing. So nope, I would advise hand washing like Mr. Noro instructed, okay? So now you know. And I don't think anyone else has done this type of experiment, but it was just a small little ball of yarn left over, and there was absolutely nothing I could do with it. I guess I could have made a little teeny tiny bag or something, you know, but why? I said, let me just do this experiment. So here it is. Okay, so that's it. Now on to the preliminaries. Okay, and it's only one preliminary. I have a question, you guys, and I had posed this question on Facebook, and everybody says, don't do it. But I have found, when I tell people that I like to research, that's what I mean. I'm researching, so I'm gonna pose the question to you. And no, I'm not mad for them for suggesting that I don't do it, but then I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm researching, and based on my research, it's saying that I can do it. But the advice that I actually asked was not whether I should do it or not. I had asked if they had ever done it and how did they like it. And what I am talking about, I have been interested in at least the past 5 or 6 years in a virtual reality headset. That's what I want to do. So some of y'all are probably saying, girl, don't. But I've always been interested in one. And so I thought about it again. I saw a video where someone was using one, and I was like, then it dawned on me again. I was like, it's time for me to get one, but I need to research first to find out what it's all about and all this stuff, you know. So I started looking at videos about it, and I was like, okay, this looks like it could be fun, you know, depending on what type of activities they have. And so then I was looking at some more. I pulled up in my research, I pulled up how to get started, what set to choose, that type of thing. So all these different videos came up. And so then I decided to post a question on Facebook for those who may have used it. I contacted my nephew who he works in computers, and he's a geek. He has all the latest, he knows all the latest, you know, with the games and all that. And he has played, he doesn't have a virtual reality headset, but one of his friends do, and he loves it. He was like, ooh, he was like, I think he was the one who said, do it. He was, because when I told him I was interested in getting one, he was like, yes, and let me know when you get it, and let me know what you get, and I can tell you, he said, I can guide you to games, because I told him anything I play on it, it cannot be standing. I already know that, you know, having MS. I said it would have to be sit down. He was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of sit down ones. And so he was just telling me what he knew about it based on playing his friends. So I told him I'm going to continue to research. And ironically enough, we have a virtual reality. It's like arcade type place. Remember back in the day when you had arcades where you go in with your tokens and you could play the games and all that stuff? Well, we actually have a virtual reality place right around the corner from me where our Value World is. It's in that same complex. So I'm going to be paying them a visit this week. Believe me, I'm going to continue to research. Okay. So anyway, I told him I was going to go there and see, you know, pay to go in there and try it out at least, and then ask them questions about it. So then yesterday, I was still doing my research, and something said, pull up virtual reality for seniors. And that's what I did, and boom, all these news reports came up talking about how they're using them in nursing homes now, in rehabilitation facilities, in assisted living places, hospitals, and even seniors are using them at home. And they have apps tailored for seniors. The one risk of doing it is motion sickness. They said if it's easy for you to get motion sickness, and that's even sitting down, because these games are tailored for sitting, not standing, not doing all that other stuff. Although you can do what you're doing sitting down and whatnot, and you have your little perimeter and whatnot that's in the virtual thing that you set up. But if you get motion sickness, that's the one thing that will cause you to not be able to do it. But there's also instructions on how, if you get motion sickness, how to eliminate it. You stop right away and you start out a little at a time with doing the virtual reality. You don't, and that's for anybody. They said even the young, don't ever just jump right into it. You know, you have to go a little bit at a time to get accustomed to it, because you actually feel like that you're in this virtual world. You feel like you're there. And so anyway, I watched I haven't watched them all, but I've watched probably 2 or 3 hours worth of news reports on it. In fact, they're still doing, I saw one that was just a month ago, and then there's other ones. The CBS one, I believe, was a month ago. The Today Show did one. And I mean, and then while in the course of that, there is actually a guy who's 66 years old now. He was 65 when he made this video a year ago. He actually started a YouTube channel, and I forgot his name, so I can't tell you who he is. But anyway, he started a YouTube channel at the age of 65 on virtual reality for people 60 and above, or 65 and above, for seniors. So the first video that I watched, the only one thus far, but I'm gonna watch him some more today. It's a 45-minute video telling you how to get started, which headset would be best for people our age, which would be the simplest to use, how to start, how to eliminate motion sickness if you get motion sickness. You're not supposed to use it if you have a history of seizures, which I don't. I don't even have motion sickness. I've never gotten car sick or motion sickness in any way, but I do, because of MS, from time to time I get vertigo. So I would have to be careful with that and definitely start slow and whatnot. And I have my vertigo medicine too, so that would help. So he talked about all the things. He covered every base that it takes to get started with it. Then he went on to some of the games, what games you should start with. He said, don't start with nothing, even sitting down. He said, there's some games you don't want to start with because it's too much stimulation. It was just simple things. And then when he talked about the different activities, and this is what they talked about too in the senior homes, the activities. There were people who were born in like Greece and other countries, but they can no longer travel. They were depressed because, they missed home or they missed traveling and vacations. They have the travel app where you can go to any place in the world and you feel like you're there. Like people afraid to fly, like me, I do not fly for no reason, period. Okay. You can, not fly, but you can be in these places and you feel like you're right there. You move around, you see the sights, you go sightseeing, and you're sitting there. And so these seniors were loving it. It brought them to life. A lot of them were depressed before they were able to do the virtual reality. And they just was happy. They looked forward to it every day. They talked about it. They just absolutely loved it. And these were people from all walks of life and whatnot. So those who live at home, they were able to be introduced through like grandchildren and stuff, like this man who started this channel, and he loved it so much that he bought his own so he's been using it for like 5 years now, and he wants everybody. In fact, all the seniors said they think that everybody should have it. And they're talking about implementing these in all facilities for seniors and rehabilitation places. When the Wii came out, they implemented the Wii. I remember when my mother had her stroke, right where she was in the rehabilitation thing, we didn't know she would never walk again, but they were still trying to rehabilitate her. So she spent 6 weeks in one of those places, and then the insurance stops paying once you no longer improve. You have to show an improvement each month. And once she got to the point where she was no longer improving, then they don't pay, and then you're done. And that's how my mom ended up bedridden. We knew she would not improve any further. But boy, they did work with her. They did. And they got her to the point where she could at least use her one hand and things like that after her stroke. But one of the things was the Wii. And my mother was very happy, and they're teaching her the Wii. And I told them, I have a Wii. I've since given it to my niece, but I had actually bought it for my nieces and nephews when they would come to our home, to visit or to stay the weekend. I had it there for them to play. But my mother and I found ourselves, we would do the bowling. We did all kind of stuff. I had the game shows like the Press Your Luck and Price is Right. So we used to play the Wii from time to time, but my mother loved the bowling. She would beat me all the time. And so when they had my mother doing the Wii there, I said, let me bring in some games. I can bring you the ones she liked. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, we did the Wii at home. And so my mother was familiar with it. So they used that for the therapy, and she loved it too. And she learned, how to work her right hand, because her left hand was the good hand. And my mother happened to be left-handed. So that worked out with the stroke. She didn't have to learn how to use her opposite hand. Her opposite hand was she had the stroke on the left side. Remember, if you have a stroke, it always hits the side of your brain opposite to your dominant side. So if you're right-handed and the stroke hits your right side, if you're right-handed and the stroke hits your left side, it's going to affect your dominant hand, your right side, and vice versa. Well, mom's stroke hit her left side, so it affected her right hand, but her dominant hand happened to be her left hand. So she was able to use that, and that played a huge part in her being able to come home and stay in the home because she was left-handed, and she could assist, she could feed herself, all that. She could write, all these things, read, work her TV remote. She could do just with that hand, and that's all she had the use of, other than being able to talk and things like that. But just having that gave her power empowerment, so to speak. Okay, I'm getting off the subject. But anyway, she was able to use the Wii and, play with the Wii and all that stuff while she was in rehab. And so anyway, so back to the thing. So this senior channel that I watch, he has me convinced, okay, I think I can handle this. But of course, all my friends on Facebook was like, don't do it. Oh, I meant to say too, there are also apps. They said for people to help people who have mobility issues, people with Parkinson's and other mobility issues and neurological issues. It helps cognitive function. There's more pros to it than cons. It seems like I'm selling myself. But what I wanted to ask you, just like I asked the people, on Facebook, I just asked them, have you used one? Two of my friends have, and they're both older. And well, no, one of them have, and then the other one, her mother-in-law had. Her mother-in-law is since deceased. So the one whose mother-in-law is since deceased, she said, trust me, you don't want to do it. And I'm thinking, okay, you're going by your mother-in-law. I mean, I'm not your mother-in-law, so I'm thinking that to myself. And so I put, thank you for your input. And then my other one, another friend, well, a lot of them said, wait a minute, don't you have balance issues and all this stuff? I was like, oh no, I don't plan to stand up with it. So, and then one who has used it, my friend Karen, she told me that she was not able to use it. So we'll see what happens, but I'm just asking you guys, have any of you ever done the virtual reality, and have you done sit down versus stand up if you have done it? And tell me your true experience. Have you did like the travel one? I would get it specifically for the traveling. I would like the traveling, and then I said I wanted it for the carnival rides. Knowing good and darn well, I was scared of roller. I've been on a roller coaster one time in my life, but there were other carnival rides that I did like that would cause you. I like the tilt-a-whirl. I used to like what we called the floor drop, and I forgot what it was actually called, but it's the one that you're spinning around and everything, and then the floor drops from underneath you. So maybe I won't fool with that one. But I mean, there's other like the bumper cars or something like that. I can do that. And then I thought about the other one, water parks. I would love, because I would love to do like a water slide one, where you go down the water slide. But anything that would make me have vertigo that's spinning around, I would not do it. They had this one and they were showing seniors who were playing it, where they walked out the ledge plank, and they were instructed to walk out further on the plank, but they were like at the window and they're looking down at this view. And they were like, no, some of them wouldn't do it. And then one of them did. And then he was like, oh, but he wasn't walking in real life. He was doing it through the remote control, but he felt like he was actually walking. Then they had the one where you can tour like the Grand Canyon, where you flying in the air. You can do space exploration. Now, I would love that. I don't care how dizzy I would get. I would love to do the space one where I could look in space, feel like I'm in outer space. They have the deep sea, where you can go under the water and, see the fish and see the types of animals. They have the one you visit the zoo, all kind of stuff, all kind. I said, I hope they have an eclipse one. If I could get that feeling again that I had when I saw the solar eclipse, that right there would make it worth every penny. So anyway, I'm rambling on this now. We're almost at 30 minutes. So let me know, have you ever tried virtual reality? And that's when you put the headsets on and, all this stuff is going on while you're doing it. Please let me know, and I want to know your experience. I truly believe I could do it, so that part I'm convinced on. What I'm not convinced on is, well, like I said, I'm a visit the place this week, and I guess my best bet would be to try it. I guess them youngsters gonna look at me, who's this old lady in this walker or whatever. But I'm gonna go during the day, and whatnot. And it'll just be for a few minutes. I'll ask them, about it and stuff. And if I feel it's something I want to try right then and there, they can pull up the app. A lot of the apps are free. Some of them are paid. Pretty much the ones that the young ones like, the popular ones, which is something I'm not even into standing up doing it or anything like that. So I know that mine will probably be free. And if there's anything that's paid, if it's worth it and it's going to help me cognitively or with my mobility, I would be willing to pay for an app for something like that. But a lot of them are free. And so we'll see what they have to offer. The travel ones are that one probably costs. I would pay for that. Like zoo trips or whatever, you can visit museums, things that I would never do in my lifetime in person, in real life. I can do it through the virtual reality and have that exact same feeling and see the same sights. And if it's in 3D or whatever it's in, think of a Viewmaster. I loved my Viewmaster. In fact, I still have my Viewmaster, and I have reels. And you can order the vintage reels. I used to order them for my collection, but I stopped doing it after my mom had her stroke. I loved Viewmaster, and that was my favorite winter activity. Even when I did it, when I started collecting the reels at into my 40s. Okay, I was in my 40s, and I still have that Viewmaster. It's right there in my historical box. That and the reels. And I haven't used it in a long time, but I would love in the wintertime, it would be, because it would be snowy and bright, and we had a bright home. We had natural light in our home. I used to love to go through like the destination reels and click and look at them. I would do that in the winter when I was a kid. And so that one that I have now, when I saw some of those reels, I just started buying them. Now they're real expensive. I have looked at them, like within the past year. I was like, well, can't buy any of these vintage reels now. But if I loved the Viewmaster the way that I did, I will probably, because even a few of the people at the senior center said, this reminds me of a Viewmaster. And I'm like, okay, that's what I was thinking when I saw it. If it's anything like a Viewmaster, so those of you who's used it, tell me, is it like a Viewmaster? If it's like that, oh, I know that's something I will love. So that's just something extra to do during the winter months, because winter is coming, and this is something I wanted to get right away. I could get open box at Best Buy, or I could get, and they're not that expensive. They say the Meta one is the least expensive, and it's the easiest one to work. It's basic, and I don't need any of the components to go to it. I don't plan on hooking it to my computer or my iPad or anything. I would have the app, on my iPad, and then I could upload from there, but I won't have to hook it up in any kind of way. So I'm sold on getting it, but I still want to do a little more research. I'm gonna watch a few more videos of the 65-year-old who has the channel, because he has a lot of stuff on there. And so I'm gonna watch some of those, the ones that really interest me, that would possibly answer questions that I may have, or something I may not have thought of. I'm gonna watch that, and then I'm gonna go to the actual virtual reality place. I want to try it out, but I might decide after talking to the person who runs it, I might decide, okay, I don't want to try it out today, but I may come back. But I definitely want to try it out before I buy. That's for sure. But I'm still doing my research, and I plan to continue researching, for probably the next few weeks here. Because I said if I buy it, it's going to be right around Christmas time when things like that go on sale. And then you have open box and all that stuff. And then I have that Best Buy thing. Like when I bought my iPad a year ago, well, it's been almost a year. I had that because I'm a member, the Best Buy membership, I have that. If something goes on sale within the first 90 days of your purchase, then you take your receipt in and they give you the difference. I ended up saving $200 more on my iPad when it was over and done with by that 90th day, not 98th. So hopefully I can get in on that. And so Christmas time, when they do the sales, I would probably purchase like right before Thanksgiving. So we still looking at another month and a half here. And then that would put me within that 90-day window of the after Christmas, before Christmas, Black Friday and all that. And that's how I bought that iPad. I did it purposely like that because I knew that there would be sales. And so I was able to get in on all that. my thing expired like that February. So I bought the iPad around, I think it was like a week before Thanksgiving. I put it like right before those sales started. And I bought it. I knew I was buying it. And so I went to get it, bought it, paid the full price for it. And then when it was over and done with, shoot, I ended up getting the Apple Pencil after I got so much back. I just used it to get the Apple Pencil, and then I ended up getting my Apple case, the thing that you protect it with and all that. So I got all my accessories, and I still came out ahead on the price based on what I initially paid versus what I ended up saving. Yep. So, and it's there. It's sitting right there on the couch, and I hardly ever use it, but couldn't live without it either. But my old iPad, I had that thing, since I think I bought that thing in 2010, and it was the first edition of the iPad Pro when they came out with the big one. That's when I bought that one, and it's been a long time, and it still works, but it's so outdated. It got to the point where I could no longer do updates on it, or the updates didn't work correctly on it. I could still update it. So I decided, okay, it's time now, because I've had this thing, all these years. So the new one, I love it even better. The graphics, it's improved. But my old one, I use it for if I go in the hospital, I take the old one, or if I'm taking the iPad out, I don't take my new one out the house, period. I keep it in. Oh, another thing, with my savings, I was able to buy a speaker. I bought a Stanmore speaker because that had gone. It was actually, what happened was when I saved with the thing and got the money back, I bought the Stanmore speaker, paid full price, but I used part of what I had gotten back from the iPad, and I paid full price for the Stanmore, but I was still under that 90-day thing. So then the Stanmore speaker ended up, and I bought that, it was well after Christmas. It might have been January when I bought that, or right after Christmas. So when I bought that Stanmore speaker, then it went on sale, and that was good. I was good until March, January, February, March. So I ended up saving on that too. Every time the Stanmore speaker went on sale, and it's the smaller one, the Cube wireless one, and it's sitting right on my dining room table. So when that would go on sale, I got in on that too. They probably don't even offer that membership anymore, because I know they were losing on that, because I have done well with that. So the virtual reality will be bought through that too. And let's see, wait a minute, I can almost see the letters, because the phone is kind of behind me, and I'm leaned up in it. Let's see, we are at 37 minutes. So let's end this. So I will be back this week. I will keep you updated. I know that the virtual reality is totally off topic, but I just thought, it's a lot of you here, so I'd like to hear your opinion on virtual reality. And I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't get it. I really don't know. I'll make that final decision eventually. But if someone says I shouldn't, like most of my friends did, they're thinking of my health. And, a lot of them, they know me personally. They see me and everything. They're probably thinking, why would you do something like that? And but why not? I want to live, okay? I'm not going to just sit here like a little mouse. So it's fun things I want to do now. I admit that carnival one, because I was like, ooh, I want to do the carnival one. Maybe that's one I shouldn't do, but I know what I can do and what I can't do, but I don't want to make the investment either without researching it. So you all are part of my research. Tell me what you think, or tell me if you've used it. Well, even if you haven't, is it something you're interested in? Is it something that you've seen others do? Whatever, just tell me anything about it. Okay, and I know that's off topic, but y'all know me. I talk about everything. So I'm going to get off of here because I'm cooking dinner. I need to cut my potatoes. And so that's the last part. I did some green beans that come straight from I bought them at the farmer's market yesterday. I was going to do the greens again, and I did buy some greens while I was there, but I decided after I got them cut and all that, I decided to just freeze them. I said I can have those later. I wanted to try some of those green beans, okay? And I bought a half bushel on yesterday, so I grabbed a few handfuls and I threw those on with some smoked meats. And so that's going to be good. And then I'm baking some sweet and sour pork chops. So that's dinner for me today. So everything is just about ready. So I need to get the potatoes on. And then I will be ready to eat pretty soon. It's early in the day, and as you can see, like I said, the bottom fell out. No sunshine today. I've been under the sun simulating light all day because it's dark. It's just dark outside. It's cold, it's dreary, and it's been rainy. It's not raining currently, but it's supposed to rain some more and all this week. I want to try to get a fishing day in. I was telling my sister on yesterday, if there's a day where it's cloudy and it's maybe going to rain, I'll still go. And if it starts raining, you know, all I have to do is come home. But a day like today would have been perfect for fishing. When it's cloudy like this, the fish will bite all day long. And then you're not out in the sun dealing. It's the best fishing day. So I want to try to get a day in this week. And so tomorrow, if it's like this and it's not raining, if it's like a break, I'm going to go fishing for a couple of hours tomorrow, because I need to get one more bag for my winter stock. I decided my friend wants to go to the island the beginning of October. I've made the decision I'm not going to do it because it's a lot of rough terrain there that you have to walk. And although even with the walker, first of all, that's going to take up a lot of room in the vehicle. And then secondly, the rough terrain itself, I just don't want to deal with it. You know, I can just go on and catch my fish locally because I live around, I'm in the Great Lakes state, okay? I live around 3 lakes myself, but where I fish, it's not that far and the fish are nice. So I'm going to just go there, you know, because summer's over now. So this is one of our state parks. And now that summer is over, they still have a lot of people there on the weekend, but most people have put their boats up for the winter. You'll see a few jet skis still, but that's on the weekend. During the week, all you see are elderly people walking their dogs through there. And you'll see a few people there fishing and whatnot. My friend JD, he's been going almost every day. So he'll probably be there tomorrow. So I think I'm going to go and I'll just fish right by the boat launch. I can set my chair right there and right in between the boats. Well, y'all saw that one. That's where I like to fish, where I caught that catfish about a month and a half ago. That's right where I'm going to be, right there. And catching the big bluegills. They're spawning now, so they'll be easy to catch. And once I get that last bag, I'm done. Wait a minute, the sun's trying to come out. Well, shock, shock. I can go cut the light out. I'm like, why is it starting to get light outside? Okay, the sun just came out. Shock, shock. Well, that means more rain. That's definitely going to happen. Okay, so let me get off of here, you guys, and I will talk to you all later. Look, I'm looking all crazy. I will talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all. See you on Wednesday, I guess, or maybe sooner. It all depends. Okay, bye-bye.